Hey again, Stonebridge. I can say this literally. I wish you were here. We miss you. I know this pandemic brings a lot of weirdness to it. One of the weird things is learning how to online grocery shop. And I'm sure that you figured this out by now, that when the bags get delivered to your door, they don't often have all the things in them that you might have expected. Sometimes the store might have been out of something, and so they're going to put a substitute in the bag. And sometimes that substitute's a really good thing. Like last week when the Burrells ordered a box of extra toasty Cheez-Its, our snack of choice, and they were out of the regular size box, so we got the family size box, which was a really good day in our house. A lot of times, though, the substitute is not as great as the real thing. We got this, Exhibit A. This is Great Value Ginger Ale. We ordered, I think it was Cherry Vanilla Coke Classic. We got this. Now, it's not bad. I mean, we're drinking it. But to be honest, this is the drink that we're drinking when we can't drink the drink that we want to drink. And I think that's kind of like our moment right now, honestly. In our life groups, for instance, we're gathered up on Zoom and Google Hangouts, and it's the experience that we're experiencing when we can't experience the experience that we want to experience. And on Sunday morning, we do this virtual worship with Vimeo and a couple of cameras, and that's the gathered worship that we gather around when we can't gather around the gathered community that we want to gather around. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that you can't legitimately worship the Lord with us in your living room. In fact, we're counting on it. We are holding on to with certainty the fact that he's going to show up in this. But I hope that every one of us feels that sense of lack, that this isn't exactly right. It's still not what we were made for. Online worship for us right now is a temporary necessity. It's not a new strategy. We were made to experience the body of which Jesus Christ is the head, and to gather around him. And online community is always going to fall a bit short of that. So is it harder for you to have a heart for worship as you sit and worship with us in your living room on Sunday mornings? Is it harder for you to feel as close to your life group as you did when you were all gathered around the same casserole in the same room? Is it harder for me to preach to a camera? Sure, of course. Yes, it is, definitely. We do the best we can with what we've got. We drink the drink that we drink when we can't drink the drink that we want to drink. But I hope you feel a longing. And I think it's been a good moment. I'm grateful for the ways in which our staff and our band and our life groups and our abide groups and our children's ministry are all adapting and innovating in this moment. But we all long for something different. We long for something better. And that gets me to the verse that really got my attention this week. It's in Hebrews 8. It's verse 5. And it's talking about the tabernacle being made in Exodus according to the pattern that God gave to Moses on the mountain. And it says this in verse 5. They serve at a sanctuary that is a copy and shadow of what is in heaven. In other words, when you worship God in the Old Testament, the tabernacle was legitimate, the worship that was happening there, but it was also anticipating something better. It was anticipating something different and new. And then verse 6 says, but in fact, the ministry Jesus has received is as superior to theirs as the covenant of which he is mediator is superior to the old one, since the new covenant is established on better promises. When Israel worshiped in the Old Testament tabernacle, it was legitimate in its own right, but it was also pointing to something. It was a shadow of a better day. A day when the veil was going to be torn and Jesus would become the center of our worship. And he said that the time is here when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, not on a mountain or a temple. It's not geographical. It's coram Deo. It's before the face of God, because Jesus has given us full access to his throne. Their worship pictured something greater. Now apply that to today on two different levels. The first one is just simply the situation that we're in. We're apart from each other and we're worshiping online. And this online community and online worship is a picture of a greater reality. One day soon, we're going to be able to regather in this place, and we'll be able to experience what we were made for. We'll be able to experience the fullness of all that this was meant to be. Not just the experience that we experience when we can't experience the experience that we wanted to experience, but the real thing, the gathered community. But more than that, even that, when we gather back together again, it's still a picture and anticipation of a greater reality. One day we will worship in perfect spirit and perfect truth before the throne of God above. He will tear down the final veil, and we will see him. So today, church, let's find contentment in what we've got. It's good. We're grateful for the technology that allows us to worship at the same time, the same moment, even if not in the same room. It's good. But as we're experiencing it, let's not lose our longing for the reality and the hope and the anticipation of a regathered Stonebridge. And even more than that, don't lose your longing for the reality of a one-day gathered people of God around the throne with Christ at the center. That's what we were made for. That's where it's all heading. Right now is just the drink that we're drinking when we can't drink the drink that we want to drink. So stay thirsty, my friends, and we'll look forward to seeing you in this place sometime real soon.